I swear, if NF's album is not number one, I am disliking the video. I'm PG, I'm chillin', I hope you're doing well, and this is my top 10 rap albums of 2023. And before that, I'll be giving some honorable mentions as well. Many people, including myself, believe it was a bit of a lackluster year for rap and hip-hop, but I still think there was plenty of great music to listen to. As always, if you like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and feel free to check out more content like this, and I hope you enjoy this video. Number 10, Magic 3 by Nas. This is the third installment of Nas's second series of albums with producer Hit-Boy, and what a duo they have been over the last 3 years. This album did have to grow on me, as it was hard for me to grade it when considering how high of a bar they set with King's Disease 3 last year, but this certainly acts as a nice culmination of the work that this duo has put in. Nas kept his pen game sharp and continues to find new ways to tell stories in his music, as well as remain triumphant and literally stand on business. And when you pair that with a modernized boom-bap soundscape filled with some trap, jazz, and soul sampling, it puts the GOAT-level MC in a zone. A solid conclusion to this Magic trilogy. Number 9, Maps by Billy Woods and Kenny Siegel. It has taken me a while to get used to the spoken word type of delivery that Billy uses, but it makes for a good, eclectic record with producer Kenny Siegel. This album goes through the theme of traveling, touring, and seeing the world as well as home in a new lens. This album has an anecdotal quality to it as well, where he is talking about incidents that happened on the road, amongst other topics like weed, global cuisine, feeling like an alien in different places, and more. It's well written and there's a nuance to it that you don't hear in the current state of rap. I'm not sure how to describe the production, but it's mostly jazzy with some dark tones to it as well. I will be checking out other Billy Woods projects in the future. Number 8, Burning Desire by Mike. I've always compared Mike to Earl Sweatshirt with his monotone, callous, yet laid-back delivery, along with his ability to say a lot in short tracks, and with that in mind, this is like his version of some rap songs. It's packed with songs that usually only have one verse, but man does he maximize that time. Mike crafts his bars with deep but effective lyrics. He reflects on his personal life, loss, and self-doubt. You have songs like Baby Jesus, Please Don't Cut My Wings, and You Think Maybe that reflect that, but also songs like Golden Hour and Muscle Beach that divert to something more up-tempo. He produced the album too, filled with jazzy and chill beats that can also sound elegant. There's a sense of self-isolation through it, but also moments where he is coming out of his shell and showing hunger and evolution. One of the better concept records of the year. Speaking of Earl, at number 7 I have Voir Dire by Earl Sweatshirt and The Alchemist. These two longtime collaborators finally reveal this body of work, despite their odd initial release of this project on a different streaming site and NFT format. It's been accessible for months and pleasant on the ears. The Alchemist production fits Earl like a glove. Earl is able to keep his songs short and verses punchy. Earl talks about family, regret, death, uncertainty, but also hope, and on an album that is more measured and more upbeat than his past projects. Voir dire means to tell the truth, and Earl is nothing more than his authentic self here. And the instrumentals, albeit are short, but can be infectious, especially when just chilling and vibing out. Has a lo-fi quality to it. Instrumentals like Vin Scully, Mancala, Mac Deuce, and Geb, which for some reason is not on all platforms and should be because it's a great beat. It's a concise, abstract hip-hop trip. At number 6, Karanta by Danny Brown. Back in 2012, Danny dropped Triple X or 30, and now he drops Karanta 40. And musically, this is so refreshing for Danny. While you get glimpses of the manic and quirky rapper on songs Tantor and Dark Sword Angel, the rest of this album sees him in a different mode. He gets very self-reflective on this album, referring to his past, drug use, drug dealing, relationships, rehab, and ultimately how his rap career has changed his life for better and for worse. There's even a song about gentrification on here. Danny shows growth as an artist and as a man trying to right his wrongs and overcome his vices. This is an album that truly represents how a rapper can evolve in his craft and show vulnerability across the decade. You hear some rappers still trying to recreate the lifestyle and swagger that they flexed upon 10 years ago, but Danny shows that there is room in hip-hop for growing and aging into a new phase of life, yet still making a cool and compelling listening experience. At number 5, The Patience by Mick Jenkins. There's this phrase I've been hearing this year. He's rapping like the rent is due, and that's what Mick is doing on here. While there are songs on here that sound more vibey and contemplative, like Smoke Break Dance or Roy G. Biv, ultimately it sounds like Mick is hungry, eager, and angrier than ever. He is basically running out of patience. Whether that's due to the fake shit and the facade within the music industry and rap culture, or that he doesn't feel he receives the recognition for his art. He also raps about his come up and it's nothing pretty. We receive good features all around from Freddie Gibbs, Benny the Butcher, Jid, and Vic Mensa. There is a lot packed into 11 songs. It's punchy and it's direct. Mick had a highly critically acclaimed debut album, The Waters, in 2014, and this is possibly his best performance yet. At number 4, Michael by Killer Mike. As opposed to his releases as one half of Run the Jewels, we receive an album that's more of an autobiography than an electronic and industrial-infused political statement. Killer Mike keeps most of his focus on himself, his story, and the people and culture that helped raise him. The beats on here have clear influence and collaboration from the classic Atlanta Dungeon Family, which was a hip-hop group that helped record, produce, and mold the sound of Southern hip-hop in the 90s, especially Outkast. There are elements of gospel on here, on songs like Shed Tears, Run, and High and Holy. There's choir performance and background vocals throughout the album, and even some trap-type production. The standout tracks on the album, Scientists and Engineers, pull sound from all of that. Having Killer Mike, Future, and Andre 3000 on one song and making it sound glorious, no wonder why it's nominated for Grammys. Mike's personal tales regarding his mother and what he saw on the streets of Atlanta make for key moments on here. But overall, it's not like it's a somber or remember back when kind of album. It actually sounds more hopeful and uplifting. There's a few bangers on here as well. It's just a great body of work. Number 3, The Great Escape by Larry June and the Alchemist. Let me set the scene here. Close your eyes. It's a sunny Saturday afternoon. You pull out of the driveway in a convertible. You're cruising on a windy, empty road, looking over the ocean, shades on, feeling a mellow high, and you meet up with the homies for brunch. Life is good, and this is the music playing in the background of all of that. Larry June's mellow style of delivery, combined with the Alchemist's vibrant yet smooth production, is a match made in heaven. It's filled with soulful samples, jazz, a little bit of funk, and bright instrumentation. Whether that's guitar licks on songs like Ocean Sounds and Exito, or the saxophone playing in 60 Days, the groovy sounds on Palisades, California, this album is literally a vibe, and it's arguably the best produced album of the year. L. June mostly raps about hustling, taking care of himself, taking care of his people, and gives financial advice. While Larry isn't nearly the best performer throughout this project, he does match the tone of the album. Plus, the beats and features more than make up for whatever he lacks. Good job, Larry and Uncle Al. Number 2, Scaring the Hose by JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown. This record sounds chaotic, unhinged, obnoxious, and like it came out of Dexter's lab, and it was fun and entertaining to listen to. Peggy not only raps on, but he produced it, and it's filled with a ton of samples and a variety of sounds that are inexplicably put together and work well for him and Danny. You get samples like P. Diddy's I Need a Girl Part 2 on Lean Beef Patty, and Khalees's Milkshake on the song Fentanyl Tester. There's a Michael Jackson sample on Orange Juice Jones, a loop that sounds like loud cheek clapping on the title track, even a sample from some weird Japanese commercial on here. Needless to say, there are some interesting sonic choices to say the least, and they mostly pay off. And the song Perfect serves as a nice, horn-heavy banger that I could just not stop playing this year, as it ended up being my top song on Spotify. So sonically, it's a joyful mess, and that is perfect for these two rappers. Danny's energy fits this well, and both of them trade witty and entertaining bars, treating the state of hip-hop and pop culture as if it's a joke, which they are in on as well. Their chemistry is great, and at first listen I was scratching my head at a few songs, and then they ended up being in my rotation throughout the rest of the year. It's my first real, full listen to a JPEG project, and I look forward to checking out more. And my number one album for 2023, you guessed it, Utopia by Travis Scott. I know it seems like a basic pick, but can you imagine this year of hip-hop without this album? The rollout, the theater behind it, and the hype around this made the album a grand spectacle before it even dropped. But even putting that aside, the music itself is amazing. Once again, Cactus Jack manages to dive deeper into his psychedelic trap bag and deliver another grand and atmospheric listening experience. So many people worked on this album and it showed. Definitely sounded expensive and lived up to the hype. It actually sounds more like dystopia than utopia. He sets that tone through the intro, Hyena, and takes you on other creative trips on songs like Modern Jam, My Eyes, Sirens, Circus Maximus, Telekinesis, and Schizo. Now you may argue that there are too many beat switches on this album, which I would agree, but it did make for an entertaining listening session. There are several solid features on it as well, from Drake, SZA, Tizo Touchdown, and more. Some of the instrumentals sound unworldly, and it just feels like they're taking you through another universe. And those songs can be bangers at the same time. A lot of features and clearly a lot of work put in to make this album worth the 5-year wait. Mike Dean is low-key the MVP on this. There are 3 out of 19 songs I could do without, Topia Twins, Del Resto, and K-pop, but they don't damage the overall scope of this thing. I already named a handful of songs, but seriously, it's still hard to pick a favorite. I feel like it keeps changing the more I listen to it, and that's when you know you're listening to something special. That's the gist, and that's my list. What are your thoughts on this list? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Which albums do you think belong in the top 10 hip-hop albums of 2023? Let me know your feedback in the comment section. Please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Happy 2024, Happy New Year. These are my thoughts, my rankings. Stay blessed.